Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to what is going to probably be a brief Murtathon. I just decided to come on for a little bit. Going to wish everybody a Merry Christmas because I wasn't sure if I was going to be on tomorrow night. Um, I'm going to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning because of something that's going on. And I just thought I'd go ahead and have a brief uh, Christmas Eve Murtathon, um, and see what happens. This is more or less unscripted, although there's probably one little thing I want to touch upon. Um, but other than that, it's just kind of a impromptu thing. And I think what I'm going to do is, at the get go, I'm going to get to one little thing that came up. And I'm also going to put in the chat room um, a link for call in. There's one person that is going to call in, or so I've been told. We'll see if that happens. And oh, I like my Dodger Stone look here. Or not Dodger Stone, but that Roger Stone thing. I actually ordered two of these. I got this pair for wearing outdoors, and I got this pair. Now, the only thing wrong with either one of these is number one, I can't see a blessed thing. And the other thing is when I put these red pair on, um, everything on my screen goes red. It's kind of like looking through a infrared camera. So, whoa. So the this pair here is the better of the two. And I might wear these outdoors when I do mobile thons or murtathons or what have you. Or uh, just simply to wear. Otherwise, I just go back to my standard Mert look, which is these things, and go from there. Because at least I can see what I'm doing. Now, I'm going to say again, Merry Christmas to everyone. Um, and uh, something rather interesting happened. I posted a link or posted a statement about um, Lynn Wood on my Twitter account a few days ago. And even though the task force is blocked, they copied it and put it over on the task force BitChute account, which I thought was kind of interesting. So they are apparently using a sock account to read my Twitter, even though they are blocked from reading it. And they also have me blocked from reading their account. I find that rather interesting. But that's the way the task force operates. Now, let me go in and pull this little gem up. Um, I'm going to find it first because it's up here. Let's see where we got it. Okay, and for the time being, I'm going to cut me out here so it's not. Uh, they put up, this is one of the videos that they put up. Does Florida man attacking Wood Pier and appear in law enforcement video of Delphi in child murderers? Now, there's a little bit of a problem with this, as some of you who have been following the news reports may figures this isn't working. And that is that they already have someone that they consider a suspect. Now, I covered this uh, about a week ago when this thing first developed, that they have a guy that lives within an hour of Delphi who is facing trial for having done all sorts of crimes against young ladies the same age as the two that were killed in Delphi, Indiana. Now, what's interesting to note is on all of his social media accounts, he has said not one word about the character that was named as a suspect and how much he resembles the drawing. But since Tim Holmseth again wants to imply that I have some connection to this crime, and also, um, is that he came went so far as to call me a person of interest. Um, I figured, well, I would put up this image that was created almost a year ago, and this is a comparison photo between Tim Holmseth and one of the primary suspects in the Delphi murder case, or person of interest to be technically correct, and the man allegedly seen in the bridge walk that Tim Holseth wants to accuse me of being. Now, he puts up one of the videos that Channel 6 did where I'm walking, and I don't walk looking like I'm going to lay down and go to sleep. I walk erect. Anybody that's watched my videos know this. But, that's Tim. But he has yet to mention this, uh, the new suspect in the case. And so then you have to wonder what his motivation is. And the motivation in this particular case is he is getting back at me for saying something disparaging about Mr. Wood. Now, Mr. Wood, if you do links or do a Google search, you will notice that the state of Georgia is demanding that Lynn Wood take a mental evaluation in order to retain his um, law license in the state of Georgia. He has refused to do so. Mr. Wood even sued the state of Georgia to prevent them from giving him a mental evaluation. And that's where the story is right now. Um, Now, I had read a link somewhere that he had failed the mental evaluation, but now that I needed it to put up online, I can't find the damn thing. It's not showing up on any searches and it's not online. So I basically am going to retract that for now because even though I saw the link and read the report, I cannot find it, and so I cannot back it up. Unlike other people that put things up that they can't back up, I am going to temporarily redact the statement until I can track that link down. Um, but the point is, rather than be a grown up and discuss this like a man, he went and smeared me yet again. And let's see, I'm going to put up this link. This is a call in link uh, because someone said that they were going to call in. So I'm going to put it in here again and we'll see what happens. Um, because, like I said, this is going to be somewhat brief. I have something I'm going to be waking up for uh, tomorrow. I'm going to try something here um, because this is something I didn't know if I could do this or not. We'll see. Oh, it worked. Cool. Anyway, at 7:20 in the morning, there is going to be a rocket launch. And what is going to be launched is the James Webb Space Telescope. And so I am going to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to watch the launch of this particular satellite. It's being launched from French Guiana, uh, and hopefully, this extremely complicated satellite is going to work. It's going to go about 1 million miles out into space, uh, and it's going to open up like an origami leaf on the way, and it is going to be able to look back at almost the very beginnings of the universe. It's going to go back billions of years and study things out there. It's going to use various techniques to do it. I'm not going to get into a technical explanation from it because vast majority of the people on this channel simply aren't interested in this sort of thing, even though aerospace is a primary interest of mine and part of my background. But that said, that's what I'm going to be doing on Christmas Day, provided they don't delay this thing again. This thing has been delayed over and over and over again for years, and we're finally going to get this damn thing off the ground, I hope. So, anybody that's interested in that, cross your fingers, and you can look on YouTube. There is a James Webb countdown. It explains the satellite and the rocket that's launching it, and you can watch the thing go up if you're not opening presents on Christmas Day. And so that's that. So, anyway, so I'll go back to the other background. But this is also, I've been meaning to see if I'm going to be able to use this in the future, and it looks like I'm going to be able to. So that's good because this is going to come in handy for other things. Um, and so, well, so far, our prediction of somebody calling in hasn't come into fruition, uh, which is fine. You know, if she doesn't want to call in, it's certainly not something I'm all concerned about because, again, I only um, meant for this to be a short stream. Hello, Dwayne. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Welcome to the chat tonight. This is just kind of like an informal Merry Christmas, everyone, because, you know, on Christmas Day, I don't expect people to be hanging around um, chatting on any channel, let alone this one. So I figured, well, I'll just set up, uh, say a few things, you know, get into a brief chat with everybody, and then probably in about 15 minutes, I'll shut the thing down, go to sleep, and get up for the launch in the morning. Tender Hearts, yes, I am, as long as you can behave yourself. This is the link, so feel free to call, and we'll see where this one goes. There was someone that said they were going to call in, so I set this up. So the line is open. Uh, as soon as I see something pop up on my screen, I'll bring you in. Anyone else that wants to call in, naturally, you can call in. Um, I had intended this originally to be an interactive show where we could have a on-air chat like I used to do 10 years ago, but the trolls came in here and decided to ruin things, and I put it on the back burner for the time being. Task Force is not allowed in here, even though he or she can't seem to understand the English language, and they come in anyway. But the line is open. The link is there. I don't know on the banner if it will come across. I'll put it up there, and you can see if you can link it. Um, where'd it go? Okay, here we go. But that's the link to call in, so we'll see what happens. Well, tender hearts, if you're naughty, then I guess you don't call in because this is a mature audience for people that are grown ups, that don't lie, that can have a conversation without acting like idiots. So if you can't do that, then I suppose you don't need to call in. I'm not going to be on the air for very long anyway, so I don't know how productive it would be. Um, I guess, has anybody got any plans tomorrow? What are you going to do? You're just going to sit around and open presents, maybe go out to dinner, that sort of thing. I'll watch the launch tomorrow, and immediately after the thing gets off the ground and gets to probably around T plus 15 minutes, I'm going to go back to sleep. And then I'll get up later today and we will go out to dinner. There's a Panera's um about a half a mile up the road from me, and we'll probably go up there and have Christmas dinner. And then after that, I'll come home, surf the web, see what other interesting things are going on, and that'll be that. So, anyhow, but I find it interesting that there's one particular individual over on the domestic terrorist channel that up until the late day yesterday, uh, basically was not saying a thing about the holidays, was busy telling their usual lies, when all of a sudden they said, well, you can't say anything positive about Christmas, and they said Merry Christmas. And of course, I reminded this person that the very chat that um, was the same disgusting allegations that uh, Task Force and Tim Holmseth have made about me for years. And it's kind of hard to say something positive in a chat stream or comment stream when the subject of the comment area is this constant badgering by this individual. But I wished everybody over there a Merry Christmas, and those anyway that are willing to tell the truth. And that was there. Uh, I was just told breaking news, and this is something I was aware of, but Nelson Mullins, who has been the target of these vicious attacks, has taken out a cease and desist order um, against um, another one of these conspiracy nuts over on the far right wing spectrum. And the title of the letter is Cease and Desist and Notice to Preserve. Clip artist and Gordon Rose versus the Milan Fund and David J. Hancock. Case numbers, blah, 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 4th Judicial District, Utah County, Utah. Mr. Rose, as you know, we are counsel to the Myler Fund LLC and David J. Can Hancock in connection with the above referenced lawsuit. Mr. Hancock demands that you immediately cease and desist from making any statements that explicitly or implicitly criticize, belittle, discredit, disparage, malign, ridicule, depreciate, and so on and so forth. So basically, the law firm of Nelson Mullins is telling this guy to shut the hell up. Now, these are people that um, don't appreciate in getting slandered or defamed, if that is the case, on the internet by these right wing fanatics. And so this is one of these cases that in the new year I will be following to see exactly what goes on. And it's rather interesting coincidence that this letter shows up, but I can't say much more about that right now. Um, Now let's see what else is going on. But this is people are starting to get um, proactive about these things, and uh, now you know Timmy wrote about this on his blog, from what I understand. But you know, uh, this sort of thing is um, getting out of control. People making false accusations and so on and so forth. And people with the ability to do so are starting to say enough is enough and doing something about it. And so that's what we have right now. So, um, that's where we're at right now. Now, it would appear that the individual that said they were going to call in is not going to call in. So I guess we won't have that to present tonight. A Christmas Story is on a 24-hour loop. I think they do this every year. I know they've done it with other films like The Miracle on 24th Street and uh, that other movie with Jimmy Stewart, It's a Wonderful Life. And the streaming services are doing um, their bit. Holiday Inn is up there, and A White Christmas. Now, Holiday Inn, I believe, is the um, movie where the expression "Happy Holidays" came about. It was in a it was Holiday Inn was a musical, and it was one of the songs. Now, it also might be in A White Christmas. Let's see, I think White Christmas was also a song. It's an interesting movie, and it's an old one. It was made back before the politicians decided to make a big deal out of the use "Happy Holidays." Now, other items in the news, of course, is that the police woman who mistook her service uh, firearm for a taser was convicted of manslaughter. At this point, it is not known how long of a sentence she's going to get, although it's up there in 10, 20 years, something like that, for manslaughter. So that's going to be seen. On the opposite end of this spectrum, there was a truck driver who got in an accident and caused the death of people. Now, from what I understand, um, the primary reason for the accident was his brakes failed. Now, I didn't follow the case enough to understand the exact reason he was charged with a criminal offense, but the guy was given 114 years or 104 years, over 100 years in prison, which is a really, really long time to go to jail. And in a strange twist, millions, virtually millions of people have been signing petitions and making a big brouhaha to get either this guy um, his sentence reduced or giving the guy a uh, pardon or whatever it is. I can't think of a word right now. When you get my age, your mind's kind of like mush. So I don't know what's going to happen to this guy. The way it sounds, he's going to get a reduced sentence or um, some kind of break and maybe not serve such a long damn time. Maybe he'll serve a couple of years, 5 years, be put on probation. Who knows? Teresa, thank you, and Merry Christmas to you too. Uh, I like the doggy. Cute little dog. Um, as sadly, I lost Skippy a little while back, but um, I got Amber. She's resting right now in the bedroom. So, but anyway, so we'll figure out in the future what's going to happen with the truck driver. The parents of the guy that got into this shooting up north. I guess there's a lot of stuff coming in about him. The California case where the guy went to Mexico and murdered his two kids, mainly because of QAnon. Um, I gather that's going to be over in. There's going to be a trial on that in sometime this summer or maybe late next year. And I have not decided whether or not I'm going to cover that case in California. These things are pretty expensive to go to. It's going to cost me a good chunk of change to go up to Colorado again for the Cynthia Abzug trial. Now, that is tentatively scheduled for the 24th of January. It's supposed to run 4 days. Um, and then, if this thing does goes to trial, then of course you have the jury deliberation, which would start on Friday. Um, Now, the only problem is in the same week, Neely Petrie Blanchard is going on trial down here in Florida. Now, if it had not been for me committing to airfare um, to go up there, I booked the flight way early so that I could save money on airfare. So, barring anything that happens between now and January 24th, I am going to be in Colorado. I am going to check with Ocala in the Marion County Court to see how I can cover this case um, to give some insight into how things are going up there. Um, it's going to be an interesting case because some weird stuff is coming into evidence there. The woman that she knew from Kentucky actually made a spy pen call. Now, I don't know if she came to Marion County and had the spy pen with her and recorded the conversation, or she made the call from her home in Kentucky and had this spy pen in her pocket. But I don't ever recall someone having a spy pen come into evidence in any sort of trial, especially a murder trial. Um, Excuse me for a minute here. So, what we're going to wind up with is a start of a rather interesting case with this business of spy pen recordings coming in and other things that may come into play this year. So, let's see if I don't know if I've got this banner. I want to see. Okay, this is my PayPal account. I believe that if you can go to PayPal and use this, and the only reason I'm asking for donations there is so that I can afford to go up there and do this. Because the hotel for a week's going to cost me $500, and there's the bus that goes back and forth to Colorado's, and then there's meals and stuff like that. So, any little bit would help. Um, and as I close out here, I would ask that people like, subscribe, share this video, because what's going to happen is that um, I'm going to broadcast live from Castle Rock, Colorado. Okay, we have Surrender Your Fools. Okay, immediately I'm not taking this call because they are using, rocket. Okay, idiot, you're on the air. Let's see what kind of nonsense you come up with.
Mert, is it true that Levi Page is in protective custody? And if so, what is your comment on that and what led up to it?
He is not in protective custody. Those rumors are false. I don't know where you're getting your information from. Um, so it's basically a false statement. He's not in any custody at all, protective or otherwise. He's basically celebrating Christmas with his family, which obviously some people are not doing so. So that it.
Mark, my second question is it true that Kim Bacasio distanced herself from Levi and said that she no longer wants to be associated with him because of the underwear photographs, Mert?
No. Uh, they are still on good terms. I know that they have personally told me this on both occasions, and I don't understand this obsession with underwear. Uh, Now, this is Christmas Eve. Instead of this idiot coming in here and wishing happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, she once again gets into discussions of underwear and smearing people and telling people lies. This is the kind of people that support Timothy Homseth. Um, this kind of lunacy. Uh, Now, Timmy and this caller, I believe I know who it is, have had this weird obsession with Levi Page and Kim Pacasio going on 12 years. And, I don't understand why. I mean, do these people have a life or not? I mean, this person has a Twitter account where she's constantly putting dribble over on Twitter. I can't read it because she has me blocked, and the account is or was protected. But the only way these people communicate with me is come in here, make these weird online calls. And I knew this was going to happen. And I was prepared for it. And sure enough, she managed to get in the jab about the white underwear, um, which is, now some of you may recall that I read a passage from Timmy's book. Timmy confessed in his book that he got so drunk, so intoxicated, that he wound up near death on the floor of a mental ward. And yet, these people are running around criticizing people because they claim they got drunk at a college party. I don't see anything anywhere that the individual targeted got so drunk that they had to call an ambulance and wind up on the third floor of a nut ward because they couldn't control their actions. And if you don't believe me, I would recommend people who can get a hold of it to get a copy of Tim Holmes's book and read Hell, which is the introduction to the book. In there, he makes some pretty disgusting confessions. And one of the confessions that he makes is that he got so drunk that he was near death, somehow managed to call an ambulance, and wound up on the floor, not even in the bed, on the floor of a nut ward near death. I believe that he was being resuscitated, given CPR and all this other stuff. And yet he has the nerve to criticize people for less devastating and disgusting behavior. None of the people that he targets are alcoholics. None of them have engaged in behavior so serious that it required hospitalization in a mental ward. And another thing, since we're on this subject of accusations, Mr. Holmseth has a felony criminal record. Now, he went through great lengths to deny it, but it's been public information for years that he has a trespass warrant against. He was convicted of trespassing, and it's a felony conviction. He was convicted of felony grand theft. He stole something worth around $1,000. And of course, you have the drunk driving convictions. So the man has a felony criminal record, no matter how much he tries to deny it. And if anybody out there wants to check his record, they can write to the county that is in Plum City, or now, excuse me, Thief River Falls, Minnesota. Pretty appropriate town for him to be living in. But the center of all of Mr. Holmes's problems in the beginning is Thief River Falls, Minnesota. And another thing that Tim Holmeseth confesses to, he was a firebug. There is a story in there where he sets some trash on fire in a driveway between him and his neighbor's house. And the neighbor came so concerned, she came out and noticed that Timmy and some other kid had started this fire. And so Timmy, spent the rest of the day and week worried that this woman was going to rat on him to his father because he was setting fires. Now, what's an interesting coincidence is in the city where Tim was living at that time, there was a number of unsolved arson cases, and these cases are unsolved to this day. Uh, Someone has to wonder about that. See, there's this old glass house thing where people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, and apparently that's something that Mr. Holmesat needs to learn. And, so I find it interesting that this individual that called in doesn't touch upon any of that. She's more interested in Kim and Levi in underwear than she is about the fact that there's a potential arsonist. There's a guy that's been accused of being a peeping Tom. There's a guy that's, was so drunk he passed out on the floor of a mental ward, not just a hospital, but a mental ward. And so you just you gotta wonder about a guy like this. And then on top of everything else, he's going around sucking money out of people, selling T-shirts and mugs. Um, as far as anybody can tell, the guy is not making a living doing anything other than being a servant to this older woman who is currently married. I don't know what her future's. Oh, okay. Let's see who Thomas is. Okay, Thomas, welcome to the chat. And Thomas, you're muted. Okay, there we go.
Murr, do you think that Timothy is still in Clarksville, Tennessee? If not, where do you think he is? I'm ready for that son of a bitch to get his nasty, disgusting fucking ass arrested.
Well, there were rumors that he was in the area up there. I don't know what the current status is. I know he has a fixation with the military base up there. Now, as far as him getting arrested, the warrant that's out for his arrest is only good in the state of Minnesota. And I had occasion on last Monday to talk to some law enforcement officials, and they don't seem to think he's important enough to arrest. They think he's a bum, and they just don't want to spend taxpayers' money and resources on bringing this guy in on a misdemeanor warrant. So, in that respect, he's probably in the clear. Now, there are other investigations going on at the federal level, which may wind up snaring him on a felony warrant. But, that remains to be seen. But, all this guy is doing is wandering around the country, putting his book up in front of a sign. He's doing nothing constructive. He certainly is not reporting on any cases. Now, for example, there's recent reports coming out in the Jan Benet Ramsey case where they are using enhanced DNA techniques to see if they can finally put some closure to that case and come to a conclusion as to who was responsible for the murder of her. And there's other things on the news when it comes to these major cases, and Holmseth is simply ignoring it. He is too busy defending uh, Lynn Wood and going after General Flynn and completely ignoring what he said was his original
And I
mission.
hope that Randy Erickson, that freaking whore, is having a horrible Christmas while most people are with their families. She's out there on the run having an affair with Timothy Holmseth like the dirty fucking slut that she is. Fuck you, Randy.
Well, yeah, you're certainly upset with that. Anyway, at this point, we don't know what the status is. Now, the caller's opinion is her own. I do not verify any of this information at the time being. Now, there are rumors coming out from fairly good sources that there is a separation between her and her husband. There's been at least 6 process servers trying to serve cease and desist orders on Randy Erickson, who have not been able to locate her anywhere. Every time they go to the house, the ex husband says she's not there. She has never been there in over a year now, and that they are separated. And so, you know, she certainly does not want to answer for these 6 restraining orders at last count that are against both her and Tim Homestead. Um, and so she's running away from all that. Um, and that's one of the principal reasons that Tim Homestead is ducking because there's a number of people that want to sue this guy. And they can't sue him because they can't serve papers on him. Now, in state of Minnesota had a unique law that was enabled the restraining orders to go into effect even though they weren't served. So they lost on that account. They have to abide by the rules of the restraining orders. And as a matter of fact, if you go over on their uh, website on BitChute, the only people that are being picked on are people like me who do not have these restraining orders out there. Uh, the Craig Sawyer hasn't been talked about. Um, that ex FBI CIA dude hasn't been talked about. Kim, of course, has not been talked about, and so on. So they uh, are running scared on that because they refuse to talk about them. And to close this out a little bit, um, I find it funny that Tim Holseth decided his best course of action was not to show up in court. Now, perhaps he could have learned something from Field McConnell. Field McConnell did not run away. He may have avoided being served, but he didn't run away. He was taken to jail. He served his time, came to Florida, and went through the system. But he used the process to make a martyr out of himself. For a long time, for a month straight, he was making nightly webcasts from prison. And He was getting thousands of views on his YouTube channel, and this went on for a long time. And it got to the point, and he got so abusive that they put him in solitary confinement. But he was still able to get the word out. And this continued right up through Jupiter when they finally clamped down on this stuff. The state of Florida wasn't going to tolerate it. And so it finally stopped. And Phil McConnell went to court, made the agreement he made. He's no longer on the air, and he's enjoying a peaceful retirement. But for the time that he went through this almost year long fight, he was very, very productive. He got his side of the story out. He still has a lot of very loyal and close people. Tim Homseth, on the other hand, chose to run, so he couldn't get his word out, couldn't get a record in court, could not get himself live coverage from the court, which would have served him immensely. He simply ran, and he squandered a highly valuable resource. So there's a lesson to be learned here. Other people have done it. Steve Bannon is making hay out of it. Roger Stone's making hay out of all these subpoenas and requirements to appear and so on. These people know how to work the system. Tim Homseth does not. He'd rather run away like a little coward, go over there on his BitChute channel and think he's doing something, and he's doing absolutely nothing because outside of this channel and BitChute and maybe a couple of other small social media sites, nobody's heard of this guy. And those that hear all about him in the mainstream dismiss him outright as some kind of kook. And now he thinks that he can get in the good graces of Lynn Wood and perhaps make a celebrity out of himself. And that's not going to work because Lynn Wood is a falling star. At some point, his problems are going to catch up to him. He is in a great deal of trouble. You know, mental evaluation or not, he may still lose his law license. He's facing stiff fines because of the kind of cases he was involved in. Because, there's just a lot going on with Mr. Wood that is not good. And so in the new year, we're going to see a lot of things happen. And General Flynn is in no better position. He's doing the I'm not going to appear in court or appear before the January 6th committee. And so he's got legal action against him. And what I find intriguing about all this is that Lynn Wood and Michael Flynn are in a bit of a pissing match. They don't like each other and they're fighting each other and making all these various accusations. And it's actually doing the people on the left, the Democrats and the progressives, a huge favor because these people are at war with each other, um, and they're weakening their positions with this infighting. And this is getting more diverse every day. And we're going to see a lot of it after the first of the year. We're going through a coasting period right now because of the holiday season. Everybody in the political arena in Washington is on Christmas and New Year's break. But come the first of the year, things are going to start happening. And one of the things that's going to start happening is that Lynn Wood and um, the general are going to find themselves in a bit of a legal situation, along with Mr. Giuliani and other people. And so it's going to be an interesting year. And, QAnon, from what I understand, there's some things going on in the U.S. government that's going to deal with QAnon. Julian Assange is coming over here to face the music, and that's going to open up a whole can of worms. So there's going to be an interesting new year. Now, over the next week, I'm going to start getting my announcements in order about what I will be doing starting the 1st of January. And so everybody is welcome to tune in at that time and see what is in store for us as we go forward into the new year. Um, this will probably be the last simulcast that I do with both channels at the same time. I'm going to start separating like I started doing and having certain things on the Task Force for Truth channel and other things on this channel. Because this particular channel, the From the Desk channel, is intended to go in a specific direction. And the Task Force for Truth channel will be for what it has always been. And so there'll be more on that as I progress into the new year. And some of the subject matter is going to be different. There may be a third or fourth channel that I will be developing to break off specific subjects of interest, so on and so forth. And so stay tuned for all of that. And so with that, I think I'm going to call it a night. I do appreciate people coming into the chat, and I do appreciate the callers. I do wish people would watch their language a little bit because it affects my situation here on the channel. It makes it more difficult to get things done. And another thing, if people can do so, the super chat I think is still open, and so if people could contribute to that, and the only reason for that is that people have contributed it to it in the past, and the problem is it has to reach a certain level of money in the bank, so to speak, before I have access to those funds. Um, and so if people would be um, willing to do so, I would appreciate it. And also, I notice a number of people have not been coming in here lately, and I would like to wish those people a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year as well, and hope things are going well for them. These are good friends that used to come in, and they probably have a lot going on in their personal lives to where they're not coming in. And I am just wishing them well and hope everything is going okay. And so, with that, this is William K. Murtathon, Murtwitnerssone, wishing everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and good tidings and all that. Be safe and all of that. And until the next time we meet, have a good one. Good night, all.